Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? This time we're tackling something pretty amazing, transforming heavy oil into high-value fuels.
Wow.
Right. And the secret weapon, a new material called ZMQ-1,
ZMQ-1, that's right.
an aluminosilicate zeolite that's got scientists buzzing.
Yeah, they are buzzing for sure.
So today we're going to break it all down.
Sounds good.
So maybe we should start with the basics. What exactly is a zeolite? I mean, I'm sure some of our listeners might not be familiar with the term.
Right. Well, imagine a sponge, but like on a super tiny scale with
Yep.
all these little pores that can trap specific molecules.
Also, it's like a super selective filter.
Exactly. It lets some molecules pass through while holding on to others. And get this, they can act as catalysts in chemical reactions.
Like speeding things up?
Yeah, without getting used up themselves. Pretty cool, huh?
Super multitaskers. So how does this all tie back to heavy oil?
Good question. Heavy oil is full of these big, bulky molecules.
Yeah.
And traditional zeolites with their tiny pores, they just can't handle them effectively. Imagine trying to stuff a giant boulder through a tiny doorway.
Oh, I see the problem.
Right. So ZMQ-1, it's designed differently. It's got these larger pores called mesopores.
Like a bigger doorway.
Yeah, these pores are interconnected and way bigger than anything we've seen before, allowing those large, heavy oil molecules to move through smoothly.
So ZMQ-1 basically built a super highway for those molecules. I bet that makes a huge difference in fuel production.
Oh, absolutely. It's a game changer. We're talking about potentially producing more fuel from the same amount of oil, lowering costs, and even reducing waste.
Okay, now that's what I call a win-win-win. But
Yeah.
hold on. I remember reading that making these meso-microporous zeolites, it's been a bit of a challenge in the past. Weren't there issues with stability?
You're right. Past attempts often resulted in structures that, well, they weren't very strong, prone to collapsing.
Oh, like a house of cards.
Exactly. But ZMQ-1, it's got this unique design. It's got this special ingredient incorporated during its creation that basically acts like a super strong foundation.
Oh, so it's not just about size. It's about having a structure that can actually handle the heavy lifting.
You got it. But the real question is, does it actually work? Did they put it to the test?
Right. Did it live up to the hype?
Absolutely. They did these catalytic cracking experiments using vacuum gas oil or VGO. It's a key component in refining.
So they basically simulated a real-world scenario.
Pretty much. And the results. Impressive, ZMQ-1 achieved high VGO conversion rates, which means it was really good at breaking down those heavy molecules.
So it's stable, A&D efficient. What else can it do?
It gets even better. It also produced more diesel
Oh, yeah.
and way less coke, which is a byproduct we don't want. That means more valuable fuel and less waste.
More fuel, lower costs, less waste.
Mm-hmm.
ZMQ-1 sounds like the real deal. But I got to ask, what does this actually mean for like the average person? Could this actually lead to lower gas prices?
Well, it's a good question. And it's always important to connect these scientific breakthroughs to their real-world implications. More efficient fuel production could potentially mean lower costs at the pump.
Now you're talking. But beyond the potential savings, any environmental benefits we should consider?
Definitely. Increased efficiency usually means less waste,
Right.
which is always a win for the environment.
Less pollution, a lighter footprint. That's something to celebrate. But I'm guessing there's more to this story. What other possibilities does ZMQ-1 unlock?
Oh, you're right about that. There are a lot of potential applications. And it goes way beyond just fuel.
Okay, now you've got me really curious.
Right.
What other areas could ZMQ-1 revolutionize?
Well, for starters, think about plastics.
Okay.
ZMQ-1's ability to handle those big molecules could be huge in producing more sustainable plastics, from renewable sources even.
So instead of relying on fossil fuels, we could be using plant-based materials. That'd be incredible. What else?
How about in the pharmaceutical industry? More targeted and efficient drug delivery systems.
Wow. This ZMQ-1 is like a superhero of material science. But before we get too carried away, I think we need to take a step back and really understand how this all works. We've talked about the larger pores and the stable structure, but what's the secret sauce that makes it so effective at cracking heavy oil at the molecular level?
It all boils down to those interconnected 28-ring mesopores we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
They're not just larger, they're strategically arranged to create a smooth pathway for those heavy oil molecules to enter
Right.
the zeolite structure.
So it's not just about size, it's about design and accessibility.
Hmm.
It's like these pores are a well-planned highway system for molecules.
Exactly. If you have wide roads but they all lead to dead ends, you're going to have traffic jams.
Hmm.
ZMQ-1's network of pores, it ensures smooth sailing for those big molecules to get where they need to be processed.
Okay, that makes sense. But once they're inside, How does ZMQ-1 actually break them down? What's happening at that tiny level?
That's where the catalytic properties come in. ZMQ-1, it acts as a catalyst, speeding up the chemical reactions that break down those big, complex molecules into smaller, more useful ones.
So those big molecules are like boulders, and ZMQ-1 is breaking them down into smaller pebbles.
Perfect analogy. And don't forget, ZMQ-1 is highly acidic, which makes it even more effective at breaking things down.
So it's like these microscopic structures acting as tiny refineries. It's pretty mind-blowing. But as much as we love celebrating these breakthroughs, I think it's important to remember that no technology is perfect. What hurdles could ZMQ-1 face when it comes to actually using it in the real world?
That's a great point. One of the biggest challenges, scalability. We've seen it work amazingly in the lab, but scaling up production to meet the needs of the entire fuel industry, that's a whole other ballgame.
It's not as simple as just building a bigger lab. What makes scaling up so tricky?
Well, the process to make ZMQ-1 is pretty complex. It involves that special ingredient we talked about earlier, and replicating that on a huge scale while still keeping the quality high, that's going to be tough.
Sounds like a delicate balance. So what other hurdles might we run into?
Cost is a big one.
Makes sense.
As amazing as ZMT1 is, it's got to be affordable. If it costs too much to produce, it won't be practical, no matter how efficient it is.
Innovation is great,
Yeah.
but it has to make financial sense. So is there any hope of bringing the cost down?
There's always hope. Research is ongoing to optimize the process, explore new materials, find ways to make it all more cost-effective.
So fingers crossed technology will advance and make ZMQ-1 more affordable. What about its environmental impact? We got to consider that too, right?
Absolutely. While ZMQ-1 could lead to cleaner fuel, we need to make sure the way we manufacture it is environmentally responsible, that special ingredient we talked about. We need to make sure its production and disposal don't create new problems.
Right. We don't want to solve one problem just to create another. It sounds like we need a full assessment of ZMQ-1's entire life cycle to make sure it's truly sustainable, from creation to disposal. Any other potential drawbacks we should be aware of?
Well, with any new material, there's always a chance of unintended consequences. ZMQ-1 hasn't shown any red flags yet, but thorough testing is crucial to make sure it's safe for the environment and for people.
So proceed with caution, do the research, and make sure we're not overlooking anything. What else might influence whether ZMQ-1 actually gets adopted?
Collaboration is key. For ZMQ-1 to be successful, researchers, industries, and policymakers all need to work together. Open communication transparency, a shared commitment to sustainability. That's what we need to move forward with any groundbreaking technology.
It really seems like we're entering a new era where science and sustainability go hand in hand, and ZMQ-1 is leading the way, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I agree. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the impact it can have. ZMQ-1 could inspire a whole new wave of research, new collaborations, and progress in so many fields.
It's amazing to think about. And for everyone listening out there, I think this shows how important it is to stay curious, stay informed, and be part of the conversation. The future is being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in making it a future we can be proud of.
Well said. The choices we make, the technologies we support, the questions we ask, it all matters. ZMQ-1 is a great example of what can happen when innovation is driven by a commitment to a better world.
It's truly inspiring. And on that note, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of ZMQ-1. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep your minds open to the wonders of science and innovation.
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to discover the next ZMQ-1, a game changer that helps build a brighter future for us all.
Oh, you're right about that. There are so many possibilities. And yeah, it goes way beyond just fuel.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What else could ZMQ-1 revolutionize?
Well, for starters, think about plastics.
Plastics. Okay.
Yeah, ZMQ-1 and those big molecules. It could be a game changer for making more sustainable plastics, even from like renewable sources.
So instead of using fossil fuels,
Mhm.
we could be using plant-based materials for plastics. That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
What else?
Let's see. How about the pharmaceutical industry? Imagine more targeted drug delivery systems.
Wow, this ZMQ-1, it's like the ultimate multitasker in material science. Before we get too lost in all the possibilities, I think we need to back up a bit and really understand how it works. We've talked about the bigger pores and the stable structure, but what's the secret sauce that makes ZMQ-1 so effective at cracking heavy oil? Like on a molecular level, how's it doing that?
It all comes down to those 28-ring mesopores. Remember those?
Yeah.
They're not just bigger, they're also arranged in this really clever way. It's like they create a smooth pathway for those heavy oil molecules to get inside the zeolite.
So it's not just about size, it's about design and accessibility too.
Mm.
It's like you're saying these pores are a well-planned highway system for the molecules.
Exactly. Think about it. If you have wide rows, but they all lead to dead ends, you're still going to have traffic jams, right? But with ZMQ-1's network of pores, everything flows smoothly. Those big molecules can get to where they need to be processed.
That makes a lot of sense. But once they're inside, how does ZMQ-1 actually break them down? What's going on at that microscopic level?
Well, that's where the catalytic properties of zeolites really shine.
Okay.
ZMQ-1 acts as a catalyst, which basically means it speeds up the chemical reactions that break down those big, complex molecules into smaller ones, the ones we actually want.
So it's like those big molecules are giant boulders,
Yeah.
and ZMQ-1 is breaking them down into smaller pebbles.
I like that analogy. And remember, ZMQ-1 is highly acidic, which makes it even better at breaking those molecules down.
Wow, so we're talking about microscopic structures acting as tiny refineries. Pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah.
But as much as we love celebrating these breakthroughs, we also need to be realistic, right? No technology is perfect. What kind of hurdles could ZMQ-1 face when it comes to actually using it on a larger scale?
You're absolutely right. One of the first things that comes to mind is scalability.
Scalability.
Yeah, we've seen ZMQ-1 work wonders in the lab, but to scale up production to meet the demands of the fuel industry, that's a whole other challenge.
I see. So it's not just a matter of building a bigger lab. What makes scaling up so difficult?
Well, for one thing, the process of actually making ZMQ-1 is pretty complex. It involves that special ingredient we talked about earlier, remember? And replicating that on a massive scale while still maintaining the quality, that's going to be a tough one.
So it's a balancing act, for sure. What other hurdles might we encounter?
Well, cost is always a factor.
Right, of course.
No matter how amazing ZMQ-1 is, it has to be affordable. If the production costs are too high, it just won't be practical to use.
That's true. Innovation is great, but it has to make financial sense as well. So are there any ways to potentially address those cost concerns?
Well, researchers are always looking for ways to improve things, right? They're working on optimizing the process, exploring new materials, and finding ways to make production more efficient and cost-effective.
So there's hope that as technology advances, we might be able to produce ZMQ-1 more affordably. What about the environmental impact of all this? I mean, we have to consider that too.
Absolutely. And that's a really important point. While ZMQ-1 has the potential to make fuel production cleaner, we also need to make sure that the way we make it is environmentally responsible. You know, that special ingredient we keep mentioning. We need to make sure its production and disposal don't cause any harm to the environment.
Right. We don't want to create a new problem while trying to solve another. So it sounds like we need to look at the entire life cycle of ZMQ-1 to make sure it's truly sustainable, from the moment it's created to the moment it's disposed of. Are there any other potential downsides we need to be aware of?
Well, with any new material, it's always wise to be cautious, right? To think about potential unintended consequences. Now, ZMQ-1 hasn't shown any red flags so far, but it's crucial to do thorough testing and assess any risks to make sure it's safe for both the environment and human health.
So basically proceed with caution, do the research, and make sure we're not overlooking any potential negative impacts.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What else do you think might influence whether or not ZMQ-1 actually gets adopted?
I think collaboration is going to be key. For ZMQ-1 to really take off, we need researchers, industry partners, and policymakers to all work together. Open communication transparency and a shared commitment to sustainability. Those are going to be essential for any new technology, especially one as groundbreaking as this.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of a new era in materials science, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where innovation and sustainability are intertwined, and ZMQ-1 is right at the forefront, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I couldn't agree more. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the bigger picture. The impact it can have, ZMQ-1, could inspire a whole wave of new research collaborations and progress in so many different fields.
And that's something to be excited about. And for everyone listening, I think this really highlights how important it is to stay curious, to stay informed, and to be part of these conversations. The future is being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in making it a future we can be proud of.
I love that. You said it perfectly. The choices we make, the technologies we support, the questions we ask, it all makes a difference. ZMQ-1 is a perfect example of what can happen when brilliant minds come together with a shared vision for a better world.
Yeah, it really makes you think. ZMQ-1, it's a reminder that innovation isn't just about creating something new. It's about creating something better.
Right.
It's about cleaner, more efficient, more sustainable solutions. And the world needs those solutions now more than ever.
Absolutely. And ZMQ-1, it's like a glimpse into the future of material science.
Yeah, it really is. And it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the possibilities it opens up.
Exactly, ZMQ-1. It could be the spark that ignites a whole new wave of research collaborations, progress across so many different fields.
Exactly, like a ripple effect.
Is-
It's exciting to think about. And for everyone listening, I think ZMQ-1 really shows the power of curiosity.
Mm.
Staying informed, getting involved in these conversations about the future.
Yeah, because the future is being shaped right now, and we all have a part to play in it.
It all comes down to the choices we make, the technologies we support, the questions we ask.
Yeah.
Everything matters.
Well said.
Yeah.
And ZMQ-1, it's a great example of what can happen when we combine innovation with a commitment to sustainability.
A commitment to a better future for everyone. It's truly inspiring.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of ZMQ-1.
I think so too.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And learned something new.
And maybe even felt a little bit inspired.
Inspired to make a difference.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and keep your minds open to the wonders of science and innovation.
Because who knows, maybe you'll be the one to discover the next big breakthrough, the next ZMQ-1.
The one that changes the world for the better.